As I said last time, I'm an exchange student from US to Denmark. Last time we talked about expectations, going on exchange, and even going home. This time we're going to just talk about a bunch of random things. Doesn't really matter. Just going to go with it. Whatever comes to my head that I think I should talk about, I'm going to talk about. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments section, and I will get back to you, hopefully. Anyway. So, school. I didn't talk about this last time, and this is actually really important. School is going to be really hard if you're going to a country where you don't know the language the first few months, because obviously you don't know the language. Sometimes they have language classes for the language that you're learning. So, they have, at my school, they have Spanish, German, Dutch. They have a couple others, I think, but I think those are the three most common ones. Anyway, so if you go to a school where they teach your language, I would suggest taking that class, because you can learn a lot of the language that you're trying to learn through your own language. So I have an English class, which for them it's just kind of like a grammar English class, but I do get Danish out of it because they talk in Danish sometimes. But they're very good at English at this point, so usually they just talk in English and do everything in English. But it's good for me because I get to have a break from Danish during the day, so that's really nice. And I decided not to take an extra language because for me it's hard enough learning one language at a time. And that's kind of up to you. If you think you can handle learning two languages at once, kudos to you, go ahead, do that. Be careful though, because I was initially taking Spanish as well, and I kept getting my Danish stuff confused with my Spanish stuff, and so even though I had known some Spanish coming in, because like I said, I live in South Texas and we know Spanish, so I knew some Spanish coming in, but it didn't really help that much because they were teaching me Spanish from Spain, where there are similarities. It's not the same. And I wasn't saying it correctly because Spain people have a lisp. No offense to anyone from Spain, but yeah, you kind of do. And it makes it difficult to learn if you've known some other Spanish from a different area of the world. And you have to change everything. So I decided not to take another language. That's up to you. But yeah. School in general is going to be a very difficult thing because you're learning another language, and then you have to do the assignments and things like that. Usually teachers are really relaxed with exchange students. They understand that you don't know the language in the first few months, kind of things like that. My school has a language learning program for the exchange students. I don't know how many schools do that, but mine does. So, yeah, actually I had a test this morning. It's 3:30 in the afternoon, but I had a test this morning of Danish grammar, and I thought it went pretty well. I don't know how well I did, but I thought it went pretty well. But they do these, sometimes schools do these lessons, they teach you the language. It's really good to pay attention to those classes because it helps you a lot. But even though it would be really hard in the first few months to learn the language and do the schoolwork, it really helps a lot to do it. It helps a lot. And the more I do it, the better I get, because it's actually applying yourself to the language, and you have to use the language in different situations, things like that. So it helps a lot to actually do the schoolwork. And I know, oh, you're on exchange, why do I want to do homework? And I'm not just talking about homework. I don't do half the homework most of the time because they don't actually. This year doesn't count for me. I have to go back and take an extra year of high school. So, but just doing the in-class work, or even sometimes doing the homework, it doesn't really matter. If this year counts for you, definitely do the homework because you want good grades and things like that. But keep in mind that you are on exchange and you're supposed to be having a good time. And if homework's stressing you out a ton, I wouldn't worry about it too much. They're usually really relaxed with exchange students. But getting involved in the school. So if you're going to the US, most schools have school sports. I would recommend doing that. You probably, depending on where you're from, you're probably not going to end up on the varsity teams. And if you don't know what that is, that's just we have this thing called varsity and junior varsity, and varsity is like really good, and JV is kind of like everybody else, I guess, depending on the sport. But I would suggest going out for school sports. I went out for the school football soccer team, football/soccer, depending on where you're from. Most people it's football. For Americans, it's soccer. And maybe Canadians as well. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, and then I'm also trying, and this isn't through the school, but I'm trying handball, which is like the national Danish sport, and it's kind of like, I don't know, it's really complicated. There's no other sport like it. This is handball, and they use something called harpiks, which is like really sticky. And anyway, probably don't care about that too much. If you do, that's really cool. You probably already know what it's about. If you're going to Denmark, it's a really cool sport. You should check it out. Or Sweden. They do it in a lot of countries. They don't have it in the US, and I don't think they have it in Canada, but they have it in a lot of the countries. And there's some really good ones too. Anyway, so yeah, get involved with things as much as possible. I was going to do, and in the community as well, like, the more involved you are with stuff in the community and at your school, the more you're going to get out of the exchange. And I can't really say that enough, because, and I said this the last video as well, but like, the exchange students are great and stuff, but they can't give you anything other than someone to talk to and maybe a good friend. But like, they can't like take you to like, I don't know, like Tivoli, which is an amusement park in Denmark, and they can't take you places like that. And the people, like your host family and like your friends, like your friends' families, they can take you those places. So that's why you need to contact them, be involved with them, and like you can go on trips. So like my class at school is going to Corsica, France for a class trip, and I'm going with them. But then my English teacher, who also teaches a Danish class for the year above me and another English class for the year above me, she's taking a trip to London, and she's like, oh hey, why don't you come with us? I think you would really enjoy it. So I'm going to London as well. But that's just because I'm involved in like my school and stuff, and I do things with them. So like I don't like isolate myself to just the other exchange students. And like I said, exchange students are really nice to talk to occasionally, but like, yeah, I mean, they're great in the sense that like you can talk to them about like, oh, if you're having host family troubles, like they can understand that, they can sympathize with you. But the real people are like your host family and like your friends that you're going to meet in Denmark. Like my host family that I'm with now, absolutely love them. They're great. And they were like, oh, hey, we should come visit you in the US when you go back. It's like, okay, that's great. Most exchange students, like, yeah, they can do that, but they're not going to, and they're on exchange too, so it's a little bit different. But like, if you put yourself in a situation to like get those opportunities, they're going to be presented to you, because the people want to take you places, but you have to be able to like put yourself out there. So that's really important. Yeah. Have pride in the country that you're from, and like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you can do. Like, I have a US flag in right here, and it's folded up now. But yeah, US flag. But I also have a Danish flag, because after this, I will have 2 homes. It's really, that's like, people say that, but it's so true. Like, I'm forever going to have half of my heart across the world from where I live, because half of it will be in Denmark and half of it will be in the US. And it's like, I mean, that's like what you pay to go on exchange. If you have a good exchange, that's what's going to happen. You're always going to miss this part of you that's not there anymore because it's in a different country. And it's so important. Like, that really makes it like totally worth it to like, yeah. Anyway, some programs do this and some don't, but it's really cool and a lot of fun. It's called the Flag Game. Rotary does it a lot, like, because we have a lot of get-togethers with the other exchange students. Like, I have 2 coming up here very soon, actually. yeah. What's going on is what happens. What it is that you have these hypothetical flags, and they're not like real flags, like in the sense that, oh, this is a flag, but it's like you have these imaginary flags, and everyone has these imaginary flags. You don't have to play if you don't want to, but basically what the game is that to get another person's flag, you have to kiss them. And we've made a joke out of it that there's flags and then there's flag poles, and I'm sure that you can make the jump logically if a kiss is a flag, what a flag pole would be. And then what we do is you have to have proof that you have gotten that flag, and people from like that country that you're in count too. They don't necessarily know that they're giving you their flag, but yeah, they are. So I have 2 Danish flags and 1 Brazilian flag, but I don't think I'm gonna do more than that because yeah. Anyway, so you play and you get proof, and then you show it to the other exchange students, and then the person with the most flags at the end of the year wins. And we haven't decided what they win yet, but they get something, and it's a lot of fun. Like, because it does this thing between exchange students. It's like it's just a silly game, doesn't really matter. But yeah, and flagpoles. If you can't make that jump, it is sex and hooking up, whatever. You want to call that. That is flagpoles. And some people call it countries, but flagpoles just makes more sense to me. So if they call it a country, that's what they mean. But yeah, that's a fun game to play with other exchange students. And whenever you have exchange student get-togethers, like make sure you bring card games. Like that's a lot of fun. We play spoons a lot. We play Cards Against Humanity. We play bullshit. Other people call it bluff if you don't call it that, but bullshit. And then yeah, there's other ones that we play, but I don't really remember. But Cards Against Humanity is really, really popular. At least with English-speaking exchange students, because they understand the jokes and it can be really funny. Sometimes the jokes are lost on other people, not because they wouldn't understand it if it was in their language. It's just not in their native language, so it's kind of hard to understand. But yeah, so that's it for this one. And I will see you guys next time.